Hello and welcome to 3ds Max. Today I'm going to be showing you how to model an oil drum in a bit more detail than I did in my last tutorial. So you're going to want to start off by making sure you have these four viewpoints kind of on your screen. If you don't, click this button in the very bottom right and that should fix your problem. So we're going to want to start off by making sure the Create tab selected, Geometry, Standard Primitives, and click the cylinder button. Then in the top viewport, which is the top left by default, you're going to want to draw out a circle just by clicking and then moving your cursor, and then moving it up and down again and just clicking. Now we're going to want to right click the perspective viewport and click the button I've shown you before to maximize the viewport. Press Z if you need to center the object if it's over here, and press G to turn grid off. Next, go up to the Modify tab and you can start playing around with the radius and height settings. Bear in mind we're going for a kind of oil drum effect here, so oil drums are usually quite, I don't know, chunky, I guess. They're not like pipes, they're not like that. They're more kind of rounded, a bit more like barrels, so I think a little bit more height. To edit it by just, without having to type in the values, just click and hold the two arrows and move your mouse up and down, and that will that works for both radius and height. Next, you're going to want to kind of have a look at the top and see how circular your object looks. Mine's quite good, so I'd recommend 16, but you can add more, and that will make it look a lot more circular. But the downside to that is you get a lot more faces on this side, so you don't really want that. You kind of want to keep it as low poly as you can. It's kind of like trying to strike that balance between detail and, I don't know, not being too high poly. So this is about all we can do without making this object editable, so we're going to want to do that now. And we do that by right clicking the object and converting it to an editable poly. Next, we're going to want to grab the edge tool. If this isn't here, by the way, you're going to want to click this plus button next to selection, and that should bring up these 5 red buttons. And the second button, which is the edge, we're going to want, and we're just going to click and drag over them. And that should select all of them, but not the top. You can also do it by clicking one of the edges and holding left shift and clicking an adjacent edge, and that'll select them all as well. Either way, it does the same thing. Next, we're going to want to connect these, so we're going to want to press this button down here. If this isn't here, make sure you've got edit edges, like expanded, and click the settings button, not connect, because that'll only give you one. You want to add settings, which is the little kind of box next to it. This will give us one edge loop going through the middle of our cylinder. We're going to want 2, and we can adjust the pinch, just kind of making it look how we like. I think that's alright. So just click the tick when you're happy with it, and then you're going to want to go over to the extrude button in the same place as connect was, and then you're going to want to edit these sliders again to try and give you that kind of bevel effect that you see on most barrels. I'll put a picture on top now from to give you kind of an example of what kind of area of this we are trying to create, but it should be pretty obvious. So play around with these for a bit. You can make it a bit longer and turn it into a more barrel, but we want it kind of nice and defined. At this point, if you're thinking your barrel's a bit, your oil drum is a bit fat, which is what I'm thinking, you can click off your edge selection tool and click back onto, wait, you don't have to change this tab up here. Just go up here to select uniform scale, and then from the X and Y axis you can adjust the width, and you can make it look a bit more barrel-y, which I've just done. And I'm a bit more happy with that now. So we can carry on with the sort of modelling process. So next we're going to want to grab the polygon tool and select the top face of the oil drum. We're going to want to go over to our edit polygon options here and click the inset settings tool, and then bring this in a bit, not too much, just enough though. It's about 4 or 5ish, depends on the width and height of your barrel. And then click the settings button next to extrude and bring that in as well. And that should add kind of a nice intruding effect onto the top of your oil drum. We're going to want to inset it again, but this time we're going to want to make it a lot smaller. So about that will do. Bear in mind this is going to be the cap where the oil will be poured from. So I think that's nice. Next, come up into the top left hand side of the software and click select and move. And to move the X and Y axis at the same time, if you just hover your cursor on the corner of this square here, the X and Y one, that will allow you to move this face around. So you're going to want to just move that around and put it to any side you like. So I like the look of mine going there. You can move your viewport around as well, but I think that's nice like that. Next, we're going to want to extrude that, but not inwards this time. I'm going to extrude it up. And when you're happy with the size of it, click the tick. Now that's the barrel pretty much done. However, we want the object to be a bit more game ready, because if you look closely, we're only really looking for quads for this, and we've got all quads except the top. This is a 16-sided shape, so it's an n-gon, so it's more than 4. And on the bottom is a similar thing, just a bit bigger. So we don't want them, so we're going to click them with the face tool selected and delete them. We don't want n-gons in our game because it can give trouble with lighting issues, as well as the triangle management and edge loops won't be as good as if we had quads. So we want to change them n-gons into quads. So to do that, we do what we just did by deleting the top and bottom part of the object, which were the n-gons. Then we're going to want to click the edge tool and double click the bottom edge, so we have the whole bottom part of the object selected. Then we want to look for parallel sides, which I'm seeing these two here as being parallel. So I'm going to hold Alt and click each of them. So we've got everything selected except them two parallel sides. And then we want to click Bridge and just click the tick. And what that's done is it's changed that 16-sided shape into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 4-sided shapes, which is great. That's what we want. They're quads, and that allows us these edge loops. See here, them edge loops wouldn't work as well. So now we can move that whole thing out. It's just helpful for modeling more complex objects. So next, we're going to want to do the same for the top. So double click, Alt click parallel lines, and then click the bridge tool. Doesn't matter if you click the settings one or the button for this, and then you're done. You have your oil drum stroke oil barrel, and that's about it. You could, to save polygons in game, you could delete this bottom part of the oil drum if your object was going on top of sort of the ground, because you wouldn't see the bottom and it would save you quads. So yeah, thank you for watching. This was a very in-depth tutorial on how to build the oil drum. So if you had literally no idea how to even approach this software, I'm hoping that you got a good idea as to how to begin modelling.